Trade talks for the Boston Celtics are escalating as we are getting down to the wire of the end of the offseason and to the beginning of preseason. What more moves can Brad Stevens make to make this team look much better than it does now to the beginning of the season, and how he can get under some of these luxury tax and that first apron that has seemed to be his goal from the start of the offseason, with a lot of big pieces being moved off of this team and a lot of interesting moves coming back to the Boston Celtics and a bunch of signings. And what more things can we see to come before the start of this next season? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video here on Celtics Digest. I am Patrick Billings, and before we get into anything in this video, guys, if you're loving the content that we're dropping here on Celtics Digest, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I know there hasn't been a lot of news lately, but as we're starting to ramp up a little bit more and more to the preseason, where we hear more news on some of the guys, whether it's who's going to be in that starting lineup spot, in that center position, what all these stars look like a Peyton Pritchard, can he make the starting lineup? What move are they going to make? Come over here to Celtics Digest, hit that subscribe button, and we're going to let you know on any type of Celtics updates and news as soon as they come out, so you're not going to want to miss it. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. So, of course, we're talking about some more potential trades with this Boston Celtics team, as there was an article about a couple of key players that the Celtics can be looking at and some of their needs that they need to be filled before this season starts. And we know that Brad Stevens wants to get under that first apron and wants to get under that luxury tax. And he does have some time as well before the trade deadline and, of course, next offseason. But before this season starts, what type of moves can we see the Celtics make before this season starts? Well, I got a couple of them for you. A couple of names were given in the article, and I made some trades myself to make sure that they did go through. I don't want to give you guys something that can't go through and possibly can happen. So I went to the trade generator, went to make sure that the money works, and we got a few here for you guys. So let's get right into the first one here, as we have an interesting one. Probably start off with my least favorite to more of my favorite. This one being Anthony Simons for DeMar DeRozan, and the Celtics are also giving away a second-round pick. I believe this is the one from Portland. So this is Portland's own second-round pick. This one I'm not the biggest fan of, just because it is DeMar DeRozan. He is an older player, and what would his fit look like with this Boston Celtics team? You could kind of think that, personally, that Jaylen Brown has a lot of similarities to DeMar DeRozan's game, and how can they complement each other. But he does have 2 years on this deal, and the Celtics do get a little bit less on that luxury tax as well. As you could see here, the Celtics are giving out a little bit more money, and Anthony Simons is only on the 1 year deal. So this is why I did include the draft pick, because they are taking on a bigger salary, and they're only getting Simons for a year. He might not re-sign in that offseason for this team, but I think that this could be a move that can make sense for the Kings, as Anthony Simons is a younger player. He has a lot of talent, and they're kind of getting off of DeMar DeRozan's contract for an extra year. So I think that it could benefit them. But on the Boston Celtics side of things, I don't know how interested I am in this, especially with it being a 2-year deal. And when Jayson Tatum comes back, I think it sounds all good and nice. But when Jayson Tatum does come back next season, if he doesn't, of course, play this season, which I'm still not going to rule out, of course, we can't rule that out yet, but most likely he will not be playing this season, how this team would look going forward and what they look to do in the next offseason. And I feel like bringing in DeMar DeRozan is not the right move for the Boston Celtics, especially as of now. I think that they would rather get more off the tax and use Anthony Simons in a better option to get a lot less money on their salary. And this one just doesn't make too much sense to me. But if you do like DeMar DeRozan, maybe this is the trade for you. But for me personally, this might not be the best trade out of these three. And let's go to another one here. This one is also a little bit interesting. This one involves Sam Hauser. I think that this is a player that I talked about months ago that was one of the top options to get moved, and here we are in mid-September, and he is still on the team. I think a lot of teams are looking for a shooter, and I think that the Suns could use Sam Hauser in a very well way with Devin Booker. I know that they have Grayson Allen, but that might be a contract that they want to get off of, as they're paying him a lot of money, and this would be a lot cheaper for them to keep Sam Hauser and move off that Grayson Allen contract if they would like to. But bringing in a guy like Nick Richards with the Celtics kind of forward depth, he could play a little bit of that small ball center. And they, again, win this trade when it comes to money and the salary cap. You could kind of get a little bit of a trend here with some of my trades because, again, I want to talk about how Brad does want to get under that first apron and get below that luxury tax to set them up for that next offseason and make them be more comfortable to build off of the Jays and go again and get that another championship. And I think Nick Richards has brought some things to the Suns team and to the Hornets teams that he's been on and really can get more of an opportunity here with Boston, as I like to say that this is just a year of opportunity for a lot of guys. And for a guy that is due for some opportunity, I think that he could fit in well with this Boston Celtics team, and the Suns really don't need a guy like him anymore after the draft, bringing in Malawach, of course, and I really think that his role is going to lessen in Phoenix, and there's no reason for them to keep him on the roster. So I think that this is a move that makes sense for him, and even for the Celtics. I mean, they get off some money in the salary cap, which they want to do, and I think that they have a couple of shooters still on this team to make up for this loss in Sam Hauser. But again, I think a lot of teams are looking for a very high-level shooter to be on their team. We've seen a lot of them get a lot of money like Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, even Malik Beasley. If he's going to sign a contract, he's going to get a decent amount of money. So a lot of teams are looking for some guys like that. And I think Sam Hauser would be one of those names on the top of the list for a lot of teams in the NBA. And lastly, this is one that I definitely like the most out of all these options. And this one is with the Utah Jazz, and a team that we do like to make a lot of trades with. This one, again, with Sam Hauser. But, of course, you got the Angels over there in Utah. They definitely still like doing business with the Boston Celtics. And Sam Hauser, again, I think that he could bring in a lot to this Utah Jazz team. And the Celtics would, again, get a little bit less in the cap space area. But bring in a guy like Walker Kessler, where there has been a lot of questions on this center position for the Boston Celtics. We know how well Neemias Queta just did in Eurobasket. They just brought in Luka Garza, who looks like another solid option, and then Chris Boucher, who could be a small ball five as well. But if you really want to put these center position questions to bed, bringing in a guy like Walker Kessler might not be a bad idea at all. I could totally see him getting traded to the Celtics and being put right into that starting lineup. Maybe that there's a little bit of a bias with Neemias Queta being with the Celtics for a few years now and having more trust in him. But Walker Kessler is going to get you a double-double pretty much every game, get you a couple blocks a game as well, and you might feel more confident with him on the defensive side of things. Maybe a little bit longer, can shoot a little bit better. But again, if you're losing that shooting in Sam Hauser, you bring in another familiar face in Svi Mykhailiuk, who was a part of that championship team, to go and get you a couple buckets off of the bench. Again, someone who's familiar with the Celtics offense. And when you're losing some shooting, you're also bringing some shooting back in to this roster. It might not be Sam Hauser-esque, but it's pretty dang close to just being a really reliable shooter. And again, just him being on this Celtics team before, I think that this is something that the Celtics could be interested in. And as well, we are sending off another second-round pick to the Jazz for bringing in Walker Kessler, who I think that they could probably get some value for. But again, this trade is successful and is definitely an interesting one to bring up and talk about because the Celtics could definitely benefit from these two guys coming in with the roster spot being open right now. I believe the Celtics would have to waive one player. Yes, the Celtics would have to waive one player. And I think that a guy that comes to mind first would be Xavier Tillman, someone who really hasn't fit in with this Celtics roster yet. He really hasn't found a role. A lot of people like to call him as a little baby Al Horford, but again, he really hasn't shown that promise that maybe some Celtics fans would have thought him coming into signing this deal with the Celtics. Really hasn't worked out much, so I don't think that there's really much opportunity for him here, and I think that that trade could definitely help out the Celtics much more than having Tillman on this roster. And guys, that's going to be it for this video. So drop a like on the video if you liked what we were talking about here about the Celtics and potential trades. And drop a comment on what trade you like the best. And if there's any trades that you would like to see with some of these players that the Celtics can move around a little bit. And if you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments below as well. I'd love to read them and hear your guys' thoughts. And with that being said, guys, Thank you again for watching the video, and let's go Boston Celtics. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.